Blake's Blue Tit Histories Forgotten Plane. Our story begins in Herefordshire, close to the Welsh border, during the 1900s, where one local boy's dream becomes to reality to build his own airplane. The boy's name was William Henry Cundall Blake, but he was known at all his friends as Billy. Billy was born in 1906 and was brought up at Woodham's Farm in Kingsworthy, which was close to the Royal Flying Corps RFC airfield at Worthy Down. Since Billy was young, he would gaze up at the sky with wonder as he watched the air balloons float over the fields, and was thrilled with the antics of Australian pioneer Sidney Pickles. When he came to Winchester in 1913, Billy's father, Frank Cundall Blake, was a very successful local auctioneer and land agent. Billy's father in 1903 put down £350 to buy Woodham's Farm. Most of this had once been Nash's Field, one of the common fields of Kingsworthy. It had long been farmed by the Bailey family, but they were willing to dispose of it for £2,250, a sum of money that young Blake set out to acquire by selling building plots. By 1921, Frank Cundall Blake had sold more than 40 plots at the north end of what was still called the Dean. Frank was trying to convince Billy to follow in his footsteps, and Billy was taken on by James Harris, the Winchester estate agents, but after 2 years decided it was not for him. Instead, he went off to Cornwall to train at the Camborne School of Mines. This took him to Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and the Gold Coast, where he worked as a mining engineer. Once he returned home, his passion for flying was still unabated, and in 1929, he obtained a private pilot's license at the Hampshire Airplane Club, Hamble, flying solo in an Avro Aviation aircraft. It was shortly after receiving his license he decided to build his own airplane. After all, Hampshire has played a significant role in the development of aviation, with the first known flight in Britain occurring at Marlborough in 1908, and supermarine aviation being famously connected to the county. So Billy took it upon himself to design the plane of his dreams with the help of his brother Richard, and they named the plane Blake Blue Tit. However, at that time, recent legislation at the time meant that all private venture aircraft constructions were to be approved by the Air Ministry, which their plane would surely fail. Billy in later life wrote an autobiography and stated, "None of these fears of the Air Ministry entered my head, for I was amply fortified with that blind faith that all inventors have in their products." Although my brother confessed to me some while later that he was a little apprehensive, but could not explain why, or cared not to, because I had by then flown 14 hours solo, back up with 8 hours dual instruction, and after all I was still but 23 years old. The plane was essentially the parts of two professionally built planes joined together, with other items salvaged from here and there. For the fuselage, he used a Simmons Spartan machine, built by Simmons Aircraft Limited, which had been founded at Woolston in 1928 by Oliver Simmons. Billy made use of the wreckage of a plane that had crashed at Leicester. The wings were suitably adapted and came from an Avro 504K. The engine was rated at 3.5 HP and came from a kind of flying bomb pioneered by the RFC, but it failed because its electronics were not up to the job. Billy, however, made use of the engine. The petrol tank was from a Morgan three-wheeler, with a tiny capacity of 1.5 gallons, and the wheels from a de Havilland Morth. At one stage the propeller was damaged, but was soon reprofiled with a spoke shave. What is astonishing is that anyone would risk their lives in such a contraption, especially only a year after qualifying as a pilot. But Billy, helped by his brother, Richard, pressed ahead. He was determined to make his dream a reality and get the plane he worked hours on off the ground and into the skies above. On the 19th of September 1930, from a neighbour's farm, Billy took off in Blue Tit for the very first time, with a small crowd watching. He completed several turns and reached 60 miles per hour in level flight and landed safely, leaving the crowd amazed. Some even shocked, as while Billy and Richard were building Blue Tit, many had doubts that their plane would event takeoff. Many had predicted that they would be killed, even predicting the plane would crash before getting airborne, and nearly everyone said they would get tired of it and give up on it. They did at one point had serious thoughts on giving up after exhaustingly long hours work and time. However, what gave them the drive to carry on was all those that were criticizing and the unbelievers. Billy and his brother Richard had proven everyone wrong when they landed the plane. Not every flight was successful, though unfortunately, the next time Billy flew Blue Tit, the wheels of the plane fell into a deep rut when taxiing back after landing, causing Blue Tit to nose over and break the propeller. Future attempts to fly also proved problematic, with another propeller breaking when he was teaching Richard to fly. The most devastating event, oddly, would lead to an end for the handmade airplane as a storm brew. The plane was flipped on its back and crumpled the wings and tail unit. Billy and Richard were devastated and made the decision for the plane to be dismantled and stored. A few years later, Billy went on to be a part of the construction on the Winchester bypass, which started again, though the initially plans were abandoned in 1931 due to financial difficulties, and was redesigned in 1934, with construction resuming in 1935. When World War II broke out, Billy joined the Fleet Air Arm and was posted to Worthy Down as a pilot with the school. He eventually became a lieutenant commander in the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve. He flew many types of aircraft that were at one time or another located at the airfield, including Belton Paul Defiant, Blackburn Firebrand and Vickers Wellington. Billy died in 1988 and is buried in the churchyard of St Mary's Kingsworthy. He's interred with his brother Richard, who died as a result of enemy action on August 1942. His loss is considered to be due to a falling anti-aircraft fire shrapnel while on civil defense duty. Today, a small memorial plate is located within a bus shelter in Springvale. But you might be asking yourself, where is the handmade aircraft now? Well, the answer may surprise you. In 1968, it was given to the Shuttleworth Trust. Shuttleworth Trust is a working aviation, automotive and agricultural collection located at the Old Warden Aerodrome, Old Warden in Bedfordshire, England. They never restored the plane fully and parted with it in 2000. Since that time, it had been stored in a shipping container at Northfield till it was purchased, and in recent years, the Blue Tit's fuselage has been restored to airworthy condition by its current private owner in Herefordshire, though work on the wings remains incomplete as of 2018 reports. The Blake Blue Tit stands as a testament to the ingenuity and determination of amateur aircraft builders in the early 20th century. Its remarkable story serves as a reminder of the spirit of innovation that has driven the progress of aviation throughout history. As restoration efforts continue, this unique aircraft will undoubtedly inspire future generations of aviators and enthusiasts, ensuring that the legacy of Billy Blake and his audacious creation endures for years to come. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give us a like, but also subscribe to our channel if you like to discover more fascinating historical tales.